Number 10. Jay-Z. Yes, it's true that he's a famous rapper with a stellar career that made millions and millions of dollars, and the fact that he's married to Beyonce is definitely something to brag about. With all that considered, anyone would be cocky, but Jay-Z takes it to a whole other level. In fact, his arrogance was at an all-time high in 2013, when he was heavily criticized by social activist Harry Belafonte and other prominent figures in the black community for what they believe is a lack of social responsibility. He responded in literally the worst way possible, quote, "I'm offended by that because first of all, and this is gonna sound arrogant, but my presence is charity, just who I am, just like Obama's is." He went on to say that Obama provides hope, whether he does anything. The hope that he provides for a nation and outside of America is enough. So basically, he says that he's doing the same thing just by being famous. Not only that, but in 2012, Jay-Z dissed Robert De Niro, who was apparently a big fan of his music. The actor reportedly called Jay-Z 6 times to work with him and received a grand total of 0 calls back. De Niro then verbally confronted Jay-Z about the situation and said, "It doesn't matter who you are, if someone calls you 6 times, you call them back. It doesn't matter who you are. That is just rude." Number 9. Gwyneth Paltrow. She's one of those celebrities that really need to be humbled. Even before trying to be some kind of lifestyle guru, she made it clear a long time ago just how out of touch she is with regular people. She once made an entire population of working mothers angry when she said, quote, "It's much harder for me. I think to have a regular job and to be a mom is not as, of course there are challenges, but it's not like being on set." Not only that, but in 2009, she was quoted saying, "I am who I am. I can't pretend to be somebody who makes $25,000 a year." Even earlier in 2006, she trash-talked Reese Witherspoon's career. Quote, "Why is she doing these stupid romantic comedies? But of course it's for money and status." And let's not forget all the drama with the Goop Lab, which is just another way for Paltrow to push her so-called healthy lifestyle onto regular people, where she posts must-have outfits that cost hundreds if not thousands of dollars and tries to frame it as a necessity. Her website was also heavily criticized for promoting questionable things like sprays and crystals that are meant to prevent mental manipulation by people, not to mention potentially dangerous supplements that were marketed to pregnant women. So it's no surprise that she earned the top spot in Star's 2013 Most Hated Celebrity list. Number 8. Jennifer Lopez. JLo's reputation as a diva precedes her, and over the years it's become blaringly obvious that she is not at all down to earth. She didn't hold back when it came to her opinion on sharing the stage with Shakira at the 2020 Super Bowl halftime show. In her newly released documentary called Halftime, she labeled it as the worst idea in the world. Quote, "If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes. That's what they should have effing done." Basically, it turns out that Jennifer was frustrated with the NFL for booking 2 headliners and making them share the stage at the same time. She's also notorious for refusing to talk to certain people, like in 2012 when she got a hotel maid fired for asking for her signature, or when she was on a commercial airline and a flight attendant asked JLo what she wanted to drink, and rather than telling the attendant, she turned to her assistant to have them relay the drink order. Let's also mention the infamous Movie Line interview in 1998 when she basically decided to trash all the other celebrities that were big at the time and try to trivialize their career. When asked about Madonna, she said, quote, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do. So I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, and I'm like, no, don't spit on my craft." Number 7. Justin Bieber. In the beginning of his career as a young teen, Bieber seemed to be extremely humble and kind, but as his fame grew, so did his attitude and lack of human decency. He took his apparent belief that he is a one-of-a-kind way beyond his position in the music industry, like when Bieber said that he hoped Anne Frank would have been a believer. The once teenage heartthrob shocked the internet in 2013 when he was in Amsterdam visiting the hiding place of the young victim, which has since been turned into a museum. The Canadian pop star opened himself up to ridicule and online anger when he wrote in the Anne Frank House guest book that it was truly inspiring to be able to come here and that Anne was a great girl. Hopefully she would have been a believer. The comments were insensitive at best, as it sounded like he believed Anne Frank would have been his devoted fan. Not only that, but he's also thought of himself above the law on several occasions and is known for his atrocious behavior in public. He's been in trouble with the cops for graffiti, spraying, egg throwing, smoking, and causing disturbances to his neighbors, just to name a few. In a 2013 Billboard interview, Bieber said, quote, "Don't say I'm not talented. If you haven't noticed, I wasn't made, I was found." Yeah, okay. Number 6, Adam Levine. There is no denying Adam Levine's sex symbol status, but for that exact same reason, he has also been labeled a bit too cocky for his own good. In fact, just last year, a TikTok went viral of Adam going off on a fan for coming on stage. The incident happened during a Maroon 5 performance when he was belting out the band's 2004 hit Sunday Morning, and an overly eager fan suddenly rushed to the stage and reached for him. The video shows that security quickly grabbed the woman and pulled her away from Adam, who was then seen cursing, shuddering, and shaking off the experience before getting back into the music. Many were offended by his visceral reaction, suggesting that he should humble himself. And remember, the band is only successful because of its fans. But back in a 2014 interview with GQ magazine, the singer addressed his reputation as a bit of an egomaniac. Quote, "I'm not arrogant, I'm cocky. It's different. Cocky is playful." Others would certainly beg to differ. But if you want to know what was really obnoxious, let's look at his tone-deaf comments about infidelity in 2009, when he said, "I have cheated, and you know what? There is nothing worse than the feeling of doing it." So apparently it's not hard for the people that are getting cheated on, only the people that are doing the cheating. Number 5, Kim Kardashian. The Keeping Up with the Kardashian star was never really one to be humble. In fact, she's known to be obnoxious and what some would call everything that's wrong with celebrity culture these days. She is totally obsessed with her appearance, and fans have seen her complain about not being skinny enough or fashionable enough for years on her show. So no one was really surprised when in 2015 she published a book containing only her selfies, which certainly speaks to how confident she is that people would want to buy 1,000 photos of her face. Or in 2011, when Old Navy released a series of ads featuring a brunette woman that looked ever so slightly similar to Kim, so she sued the company for millions of dollars. She believed that they capitalized on her look and caused serious damage to her career, which caused her to lose somewhere in the range of $15 to $20 million. Not to mention when she tried to break into the music industry in 2011 with her one and only song that was called Jam Turn It Up. Let's just say that it was a flop, but the music video was comedy gold. It's really no wonder that she's known as the most conceited of the Kardashians. Number 4, Kanye West. There are approximately over 100,000 ridiculous Kanye West quotes on why he thinks that he's so great. So much so that these days he's more known for his erratic behavior and strange comments rather than for his music and fashion endeavors. Like at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards, when he infamously interrupted Taylor Swift's acceptance speech for Best Female Video. Kanye jumped on stage and took over the mic, declaring that Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time. And it wasn't just a heat of the moment thing, he seemed to be genuinely okay with interrupting another person's acceptance speech because a whole decade later, he told Nick Cannon, quote, "If God didn't want me to run up on stage and say, Beyoncé had the best video, he wouldn't have sat me in the front row." Apart from that, one of the cockiest things he's ever said was, quote, "For me, I am a creative genius. There's no other way to word it." He's also compared himself to Shakespeare, Andy Warhol, and Tupac. In fact, he once said, "I'm my own favorite rapper," and that his greatest pain in life is that he will never be able to see himself perform live. Wow. Number 3, Russell Crowe. The actor has long been the poster boy for arrogant Hollywood types, blokey swearing, and random acts of PG violence. There were rumors that he threatened any media platform that published stories about him having a fling with Courtney Love, and some say that he chose to have a bodyguard accompany him into public toilets to ensure that no one else enters while he was there. But one of the wildest displays of his arrogance was in 2002, when he intimidated and attacked the producer of the BAFTA Awards for cutting his speech short and preventing him from reciting poetry to the world. Around this time, Crowe appeared to be maxing out on his obnoxious troublemaking, and in 2004 he beat up his own bodyguard because he insinuated that the actor had had enough to drink. Then only a year later, he was charged with criminal possession of a weapon for allegedly throwing a phone that cut a hotel clerk's eye, all because he was unable to get connected with his wife. The Australian actor is also notoriously difficult to work with and has been described as having a legendarily bad temper, regularly shouting at his scriptwriters, yelling at them on phone calls while discussing the story. In fact, while filming Gladiator, Crowe allegedly threatened a seasoned producer and said that he would kill him with his bare hands because he is annoying the hell out of him. Number 2. Lea Michele. She has recently made headlines for replacing fellow actress Beanie Feldstein in the Broadway production of Funny Girl, and fans are fuming. They have good reason to be upset because Lea Michele is the complete opposite of humble. In fact, the actress is still being plagued by multiple allegations of racism and bullying that surfaced in June of 2020. According to actors that worked with her on the set of Glee, she was an extremely spoiled and hateful person. While only rumors circulated about her demeanor before, everything changed when the actress tweeted her support for Black Lives Matter, and her former co-star Samantha Ware called her out on her hypocrisy. After Samantha spoke out, dozens of co-stars, film crew, and staff flooded social media with stories about the diva. In fact, one Twitter user shared an instance when she worked with Michelle and the late Corey Monteith. Quote, "I've been telling people this for years. I worked with her once. She literally would only speak to me through her assistant, just not addressing my presence. She was 2 feet away. Corey was kind and incredibly lovely to work with." So it's safe to say that her real-life personality matched up with her arrogant on-screen persona as Rachel Berry. And number 1, Shia LaBeouf. Never a stranger to acting out bad behavior or questionable choices, Shia LaBeouf's antics have given him a reputation for being one of the most obnoxious actors that Hollywood has ever produced. One perfect example of this was when the Transformers actor tried his hand at directing and came out with his very own short film called Howard Cantor, which was shown at Cannes in May 2012 and received significant acclaim and praise from critics everywhere. But what people didn't realize is that he literally stole the whole script and tried to claim it off as his own. The script was published online in late 2013, and comic fans noticed that the story was copied pretty much word for word from a book by Daniel Close, without credit, consent, or even compensation. To make matters worse, when confronted about it, Shia apologized and then later revealed to have plagiarized all of his apologies from other people. Only a few weeks later, as a publicity stunt to gain attention, he declared that he was retiring from his persona as a celebrity and started appearing in public wearing a paper bag on his head with the words "I am not famous anymore" written on it. If any celebrity would benefit from being humbled, it's definitely Shia LaBeouf. Number 10. Will Smith. Most people know about the infamous slap at this year's Oscars, but Will Smith's arrogant behavior actually dates back a few decades. Just ask Janet Hubert. She played Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air alongside Will Smith in the 90s sitcom. When Hubert left the show in 1993, she said that it was due to creative differences, but eventually revealed that she practically got bullied off the show by Smith, who was a rising star at the time. In fact, he went on the record publicly dissing his former co-star several times, and during one radio interview he said, quote, "I can straight up say that Janet Hubert wanted the show to be the Aunt Viv of Bel-Air show." As a result, Janet was somewhat shut out of the industry and labeled as hard to work with. When asked if Smith had matured since those comments, she told TMZ that he is still an egomaniac and has not grown up. It wasn't until the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion special in 2020 that Smith even acknowledged that he made life hell for the actress during their 3rd season. Hubert opened up about how those rumors had cost her everything, including her career and reputation. Quote, "Calling a black woman difficult is Hollywood's kiss of death." Number 9. Miles Teller. While being interviewed for Esquire in 2015, he was quoted saying, "I was thinking about how I probably think I'm better looking than the public thinks I am. Maybe it's because I came from a small town, but I always did well for myself." A lot of people seem to think that he was implying that girls from small towns have lower standards, or that there simply aren't as many good-looking people in small towns. Either way, it was a bit of a strange remark. Teller has also had no issue insulting John Cusack by saying, "I guess we look alike. We did some similar movies. He wasn't traditionally good-looking, he was offbeat and quirky but confident. I get it, but I don't want his career." That last comment seemed a little bit unnecessary, but okay. Not only that, but Teller tried to distance himself from his fellow actors. Quote, "I feel like a lot of actors of my generation are not proper actors. I want to break out of that whole group of actors in their early 20s and really start to put stuff down that lets you know I take this seriously. It's only been a few years since he landed his first major role, but the actor has already developed something of a reputation in the industry. He admitted to only taking his role in the movie Divergent for business reasons, and that the blockbuster left him feeling dead inside. Clearly, Miles Teller is just a little too comfortable throwing his own movies under the bus after he receives the check. Number 8. Lindsay Lohan. The actress was exposed for her extremely obnoxious attitude by writer Jacqueline D. Powers, who had originally planned on shadowing the then 25-year-old, but the writer for Plum Miami saw firsthand what the actress was like over a weekend and proceeded to write an article which painted Lindsay as demanding and a drunken diva who traveled with a revolving pack of pseudo-chaperones. She revealed that Lohan had a full-on meltdown over a misplaced pair of heels and mentioned the time that she shouted at a parking lot attendant saying, "Move that cone, I'm Lindsay Lohan." According to the journalist, this incident foreshadowed the arrogance and demanding personality she exhibited as her sweet girl facade started slipping. Jacqueline claimed that Lindsay was constantly looking for drama, and the actress allegedly told her that she was indignant that she was not considered for the movie Black Swan because she took ballet classes until she was 19. Add all of this to the incident in 2018 when the actress was recorded speaking to what looked like a homeless family sitting on the street and tried to convince them to give her their children so that she could take them to a hotel. When they did not respond to the offer, she attempted to reach for one of the kids and take them with her by force. Number 7. James Charles. The internet cannot forget when YouTube makeup guru Tati Westbrook uploaded a viral video called Bye Sister, where she accused James Charles of using his fame to manipulate someone's sexuality. Tati mentioned one incident in particular, which occurred during her birthday party where James had allegedly tried to flirt with a waiter named Sam and used the excuse "I'm a celebrity" when Tati warned him that Sam was actually straight. The level of entitlement there is ridiculous. Since then, a wave of allegations have come out accusing the YouTuber of sending explicit messages to minors, specifically nude photographs, and pressuring them into inappropriate conversations on Snapchat. In April of 2021, Charles did address the allegations in a YouTube video titled "Holding Myself Accountable," but that only served to dig him deeper into the hole as he admitted to the fact that he had sent those messages to the minors. What's good is that he received quite a lot of backlash for the scandal, as Morphe, a makeup company that Charles had worked with since 2016, announced on Twitter that they had severed ties from the influencer. So in the end, his entitlement really caught up with him. Number 6. Amber Heard. You could argue that the Aquaman actress has already been humbled big time after losing the highly publicized defamation trial brought against her by Johnny Depp. But as followers of the case were glued to their screens for the 6 weeks that the trial was live streamed, viewers were subjected to various stories of her arrogance and entitlement. In fact, when Depp's sound engineer Keenan Wyatt appeared in court, and during his testimony, he testified about a time that he joined the former couple on a private jet flight from Boston to Los Angeles in May of 2014. It was then that he noticed that the actress was giving her ex-husband the cold shoulder, and at one point he tried to comfort her by telling her that Depp cares about her, which resulted in Heard yelling at him, saying, "How dare you talk to me," and screaming at him to get away from her. It was also revealed during a trial that Heard bullied her ex-assistant Kate James, refusing to pay her a living wage. And according to James, one of her duties as Heard's assistant was collecting 2 copies of any magazine that featured Amber on the cover and storing them in a garage. So it's likely that the actress was extremely self-obsessed among other things. Number 5. Ezra Miller. The actor has grown increasingly entitled over the years ever since landing pivotal roles in huge movies like Fantastic Beasts and Flash. But it's surprising that Ezra Miller's crazy behavior has gone unchecked for so long. For instance, in 2020, they were caught on video choking a woman outside a bar in Iceland. The incident took place after Miller was approached by a group of eager young fans who were just excited to have spotted the actor. But the interaction escalated and Miller was heard asking the woman, "Oh, you wanna fight? That's what you wanna do?" She was clearly confused and thought that Miller was just joking until they grabbed her by the throat and violently threw her to the ground. They were also involved in a string of arrests in Hawaii, and in one incident, officials say that Miller became irate after being asked to leave a gathering at a bar and threw a chair which struck a 26-year-old woman on the head, injuring her very badly. Not only that, but the 29-year-old has also been accused by 2 musicians of stealing their music and trying to pass it off as their own without giving them credit. Music producer Oliver Ignatius and rapper Guys Guevara claim the actor stole the music they worked on and posted it to social media without credits. Number 4. Chrissy Teigen. The 35-year-old cookbook author faced heavy criticism recently following reports of cyberbullying and extremely arrogant behavior, even for a Hollywood celebrity. So many celebrities came forward to accuse Teigen, including Lindsay Lohan, Farrah Abraham, and Project Runway star Michael Costello, of being extremely cruel online. It was really bad. In fact, the model had to apologize for telling reality star Courtney Stodden to take her own life in 2011, and she only backpedaled on her comments when she was called out for them. When speaking about the incident, Teigen admitted that she was, quote, being an insecure, attention-seeking troll. But she has also bullied little children. When talking about a 9-year-old in 2013, she tweeted, quote, is it okay to call a small child cocky? Not only that, but a clip of the model went viral when she was hosting the Billboard Music Awards in 2015, and she was making her way to the stage when a woman tripped over her gown and fell. Instead of stopping to help the woman up or even check to see if she was okay, she just kept strutting her stuff. If anyone needs to be humbled, it's definitely Chrissy Teigen. Number 3, DaBaby. Another celebrity that's extremely entitled is DaBaby. The 30-year-old rapper was accused of making homophobic remarks at a music festival concert in Miami last year. DaBaby told the crowd that if you didn't show up with any STIs, quote, that'll make you die in 2 to 3 weeks, then put a cell phone light in the air. He was actually referencing the particular STI that most commonly affects the queer community, much to everyone's outrage. In fact, he shouted many other questionable things at the crowd, mainly trying to hype them up with disparaging comments about gay men. Of course, his behavior quickly drew massive criticism, and his attempt to clarify his views didn't really help his case at all. He claimed that his intentions were to uplift gay fans who are disease-free because they are not, quote, nasty junkies. Naturally, he got ripped into by the LGBTQ+ community, Madonna, Elton John, and his collaborator Dua Lipa. He was booted from the 2022 Lollapalooza tour and had a concert in Atlanta called off, as well as the fashion brand Boohoo Man bolting on a deal with him, and radio stations putting his music into timeout. Number 2, Bradley Cooper. Few people would believe that the Hangover star is just another obnoxious Hollywood type, but according to his ex-wife's autobiography, Jennifer Esposito believed that he was arrogant and a master manipulator. In the wake of their 5-month marriage breakdown, she claimed that the actor actually had a mean, cold side that he attempted to keep hidden from the public, which he could turn on and off like a switch. The autobiography called Jennifer's Way doesn't mention Bradley by name, but the time frame that she mentions fits with the time that she was with the Hollywood star. The 49-year-old actress described being asked out by the actor and ignoring an entire marching band squad of red flags because she didn't think the romance would pan out. But sure enough, they got married in 2007, and according to Jennifer, their relationship quickly became unhealthy and she felt very alone. Meanwhile, rumors were circulating within the industry that Bradley would often exhibit diva behavior, which only intensified when the Brazilian newspaper Glamourama claimed that he intentionally ignored his fans while filming The Hangover 3 and was also late to several press conferences and rude when it came to answering questions from reporters. And coming in at number 1, P. Diddy. Although Sean P. Diddy Combs seems to be in the public eye a little less over the years, there was a long span of time when he was seemingly everywhere, from the music scene to television and the fashion world. You don't have to dig too deep online to unearth some of the most cockiest things that the rapper has ever said. For instance, when talking about his love life, he was extremely overconfident. Quote, being an international rap superstar, sex is one of the easiest things to get, so there is a point where you get tired of it. Not only that, but at the launch of his clothing line, he was quoted telling reporters, I am fashion. And let's not forget about the infamous Playboy interview that he did. Quote, if I'm not inspiring you at this point, you're a lost hope. I dare you to write down all of my achievements. It will be overwhelming. Who else has conquered television? Who else has conquered fashion? Honestly, it's hard to believe these statements are even real, but it does sound very similar to things Kanye has said over the years. Diddy also received a lot of backlash after hosting this year's Billboard Awards, with many people criticizing the rapper for using the platform to blatantly promote all things related to him and not the show. Talk about ego. Number 10, Liam Payne. The 29-year-old went on Logan Paul's Impulsive podcast and became the butt of every joke on the internet for weeks later. Not only did Liam come off as entitled, but fans were shocked when he claimed that his 2017 debut solo track, Strip That Down, outperformed everyone else. He said, first song, 1 billion streams. I think it outsold everybody within the band, and I was the last to go solo and I never expected that. In fact, the whole interview came off as a bit of a humble brag, but fans totally lost it when he said, I think it was well known within the band that I don't like taking crap. At a certain point, I made that very obvious. There was one moment where there was an argument backstage and one member in particular threw me up a wall. So I said to him, if you don't remove those hands, there's a high likelihood you'll never use them again. Yeah, I don't know where he got that line from, but it sounds like he stole it from Riverdale. real. If you're loving this video so far, please hit that like button, it would really help us out. Number 9. Christina Aguilera. The pop star reportedly got into a fight with Mickey Mouse in 2014. According to TMZ, Christina was celebrating her 34th birthday at Disney California Adventure and wanted to have a photo session with Mickey Mouse. But the actor was due to go on a break, and you can imagine how difficult it would be for someone to walk around in a giant Mickey Mouse costume all day. But Christina wasn't having it, and she pretty much became a Karen. She flew into a rage and called the mouse an a-hole and said, "Do you know who I am?" Not only that, but in 2008, when she was accused of stealing Lady Gaga's look for her album Bionic, she trash-talked her in the LA Times, saying, "You know, that's funny that you mentioned that. This person was just brought to my attention not too long ago. I'm not quite sure who this person is, to be honest. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I just wasn't sure. I really don't spend any time on the internet." Talk about rude. Number 8. Quentin Tarantino. When it comes to reviewing his own movies, the director is quite clearly a fan of himself. In 2015, he told Vulture, "This might come across as egotistical, but I really don't feel in competition with anyone anymore." Tarantino also admitted that there's a little part of me that thinks everything is influenced by me, but that's just my own megalomania. But he also doesn't take criticism very well at all. Most people remember the car crash interview with Krishnan Guru Murthy in 2013, where he ended up verbally berating the British journalist for suggesting that there's a link between violence on screen and in real life. Not to mention when Django Unchained received criticism from people like Spike Lee, who described the film as disrespectful to his ancestors, Tarantino responded in a New York Times interview by saying, "When the black critics came out with savage think pieces about Django, I couldn't have cared less." But some might argue that he has a certain responsibility as a filmmaker to not just blatantly ignore people that had real issues with his movie. Number 7. Vanessa Hudgens. The High School Musical star made some pretty controversial comments, complaining about having to quarantine during the start of the pandemic. During an Instagram live, Vanessa said, "Yeah, till July sounds like a bunch of BS. I'm sorry. It's a virus. I get it. I respect it. But at the same time, like, even if everybody gets it, yeah, people are gonna die, which is terrible, but like, inevitable?" Saying this in a seemingly smug way created a massive backlash, considering how many people in her age group weren't listening to health officials about the quarantine measures, which were just starting to take place at the time. But naturally, her tone-deaf comments got her slammed across social media, with Olivia Wilde tweeting, "In 1,000 years they'll dig up our society and they'll find this precious digital moment and be like, okay, so this is why they mysteriously disappeared from the earth." Vanessa, of course, tried to apologize and play the whole thing off as a misunderstanding, but it will forever go down as one of her most ignorant moments. Number 6. Catherine Zeta-Jones. One of the most shocking stories about the actress came from way back in 1998, when an 8-year-old girl was attending a special screening of The Mask of Zorro. She went up to Catherine to ask her for some advice on acting, but Catherine allegedly just looked her up and down and said sarcastically, "You're pretty enough, I suppose," before turning back to her conversation. Not to mention what she said in 2018, when she went on a rant about being privileged. She said, "I'm sick of being humble, I really am. So sorry I'm rich, so sorry I'm married to a movie star, so sorry I'm not so bad looking." In fact, according to Page 6, the actress regularly sings her own praises and brags about how much money she has compared to other people. In 2003, she was quoted saying, "$1 million isn't a lot of money for people like us." I mean, if that wasn't enough bragging, she also said, "Some people collect art or lots of money. We collect houses because if we have to have something to look at, we prefer the view." Interesting. Number 5. Tom Cruise. The actor's arrogance reached new heights when he decided to go after Brooke Shields in the worst way possible. He decided to publicly shame her for her moment of vulnerability when she admitted that she used antidepressants to help with her postpartum depression. To which Tom said, "When someone says medication has helped them, it is to cope. It didn't cure anything. There is no science. There is nothing that can cure them whatsoever." And if that wasn't condescending enough for you, he added, "I care about Brooke Shields because I think she's an incredibly talented woman, but look at where her career has gone." But Tom came under even more scrutiny when he chose to double down on his comments. He told Matt Lauer on the Today Show that there is no such thing as a chemical imbalance, and the two of them proceeded to get into a heated discussion about taking medication. Tom insisted that the only way to cure depression was vitamins and exercise. I mean, imagine thinking that you know better than a doctor. Number 4. Faye Dunaway. Faye Dunaway has always been difficult to work with. She's also very demanding when she's off set, and reportedly shrieks at service industry employees, and thinks her plane tickets should always be upgraded automatically. A flight attendant once claimed Dunaway was screaming at everyone and saying, "Don't you know who I am?" In fact, she was fired from the Broadway production of Tea at 5 because of bizarre behavior which included hurling objects at crew members and slapping her wig fitting team, and throwing a salad on the floor and insisting that no one wear white to rehearsal because it's distracting. According to an insider, Dunaway was so demonic on the set of Mommy Dearest that no one dared approach her for fear of being verbally attacked. In 2019, she was also sued by her former personal assistant, who claimed that she regularly and relentlessly subjected him to demeaning tirades and used his sexual orientation as a gay man against him. So it seems like she's always had trouble with showing basic human kindness. Number 3. James Cameron. In 2009, the director was caught on camera at LAX telling a fan to get out of his face. He said, "I don't owe you an effing signature, just get out of my effing personal space," which some people claimed was extremely arrogant. But to be fair, no one is in a good mood when they're at the airport. But that same year, Josh Brolin claimed that he was verbally attacked by him, all because he chose to turn down a role in the Avatar sequel. He told Esquire, "James Cameron's effing calling me this name and that name, whatever." The director was also surprised that his comments about Wonder Woman proved to be so controversial. He criticized Gal Gadot's appearance and said that it was a step backwards for women. He said, "I mean, Gal Gadot was Miss Israel, and she was wearing a kind of bustier costume that was very form-fitting. To me, that's not breaking ground. I'm not saying I didn't like the movie, but to me, it's a step backwards." Although Cameron caught a lot of heat for those comments, he still stands by them today. Number 2. Shannen Doherty. In his 2014 book Jason Priestley, a Memoir, Shannen's 90210 co-star claimed that she was a nightmare to work with, and that her arrogance was beyond the pale during a trip to New York. Shannen apparently had issues with the car that picked her up and dropped her off at the airport. She said, "Really? A town car? You send a town car to take me to the airport, not a limo?" Jason claimed that Shannen proceeded to complain the whole trip about everything from the food on board to the temperature in the cabin. Not only that, but another one of her co-stars, Jenny Garth, came out saying that she was so fed up with Shannen's bad attitude one day that she lost her cool and tried to fight her, yelling, "Come on, we're taking this outside." In fact, Shannen's self-entitlement might have gotten her kicked off the hit TV show, as producer and writer Larry Mullen told Entertainment Weekly that she didn't even bother to ask permission before getting a massive haircut, which completely ruined the continuity of the season 4 finale. And coming in at number 1, Noel Gallagher. The English singer and songwriter, who is a member of the band Oasis, has a long history of questioning other artists' musical abilities. But Noel Gallagher made a whole lot of enemies when he decided to trash Harry Styles. In fact, he hated Harry even when he was in One Direction, and decided to go on record calling the band members something that rhymes with rocksuckers, and said that they would all be in rehab by the time they're 30. Not only that, but he told the Daily Star that the X Factor as an institution has nothing to do with music whatsoever, and that performers and bands that came from the show don't work as hard as real musicians. Quote, "You are not telling me that Harry Styles is currently in a room somewhere writing a song with any joy. He'll be surrounded by a lot of girls. I can assure you he's not got an acoustic guitar out trying to write a middle 8 for something." Noel also claimed that his cat could have written Harry's debut single Sign of the Times in about 10 minutes. The singer also trashed Little Mix and said that they were not in the same league as his own band, but clearly he didn't take into account the size of a fan base either.
At number 10, we have Robin Thicke. Robin Thicke learned the hard way that mirrors can catch everything, even cheating. When a fan captured a photo at an MTV VMAs after party in New York City, the singer got exposed why he decided to get a little cheeky with the fan. Of course, it didn't go unnoticed. When the fan posted a photo to her Instagram page, many were quick to call out Robin, as the mirror behind him captured the star with his hand in a place it shouldn't have been. What made things even worse is that the pair was also seen making out while the star was only a few feet away from his wife at the time, Paula Patton. The photo would then be tweeted to his wife the morning after with a warning message saying, "Look at the reflection, girl." There was definitely no getting away from that one, so let this be a warning that mirrors can catch you at your worst moments, so maybe don't take pictures in front of them. At number 9, we have Bow Wow. When Bow Wow got caught lying about his flight on a private jet, the whole world would be laughing at the star. When the rapper posted a photo to Instagram, he made it seem like he was boarding a private jet to New York to promote his new TV show, Growing Up Hip Hop. However, as soon as the rapper would post the photo, another photo began circulating online online claiming that Bow Wow was on a commercial flight alongside fellow passengers. The user would then go on to say, "So this guy, Little Bow Wow, is on my flight to New York," but on Instagram he posted a photo of a private jet claiming he was traveling on that instead of the commercial aircraft. What made matters worse is that one even found Bow Wow used a stock photo from the Fort Lauderdale's VIP transportation site. It's probably best to not lie and always remain 100% authentic to your fans, because you never know when one might call you out on it. At number 8, we have Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande found out the hard way that you should always double check translations before you get a tattoo, after the star intended to get 7 rings tattooed on her hand in Japanese translation. When the star uploaded the photo to her Instagram, many were quick to say that the tattoo actually meant a small charcoal grill. Grande of course tried to fix the tattoo, which also seemed to backfire on her, as it would now read Japanese barbecue fingers. Luckily for the star, palm tattoos only tend to peel and fade much faster than other tattoos, so she'll have a chance to easily cover it up one day with another tattoo. But before you go and get a tattoo in another language, make sure you do your research, because you don't know if you'll end up in a similar situation. At number 7, we have Kris Jenner. So remember that time Kris Jenner shared a photo of herself with chef Gordon Ramsay, and it was so heavily edited that Ramsay's face looked strangely smooth and shiny. Unfortunately, we know that this makeover was a result of a filter and some serious editing, because Ramsay would then post another photo where he looked completely different and more natural. Now, the Kardashian-Jenner family clearly loves editing their photos, and their family has been called out numerous times over the last few years. Now, yes, the light wasn't exactly flattering, but both of them look fine, so Kris really didn't need to do any fine-tuning around the edges. Fans were quick to call out Kris, and one even noted that the photo was overly filtered and that Gordon had some serious guts to post the real photos. The fan would then go on to say that it's much shame that they didn't need to look like they were 30 years old. At number 6, we have Charlie Sheen. When Charlie Sheen was dining at a Las Vegas restaurant back in 2011, he decided he wanted to get in touch with Justin Bieber, so he decided it would be smart to send a direct message through Twitter. The actor would go on to write his phone number and told the singer to call him. However, instead of the number being sent by a direct message, it was actually a tweet posted to his page, and his number ended up reaching 5.5 million of his followers. The star quickly started to receive 1,800 text messages and countless phone calls. Now, at first he did play along with it and decided to be a pizzeria each time the phone rang, but that got old quickly and he opted to change his number after having a good laugh at his own mistake. At number 5, we have Courtney Love. Courtney Love once tried to claim that she cracked the code on the missing Malaysian air flight. However, she was just looking at photos of boats. Back in 2014, the singer would post, "I'm no expert, but close up, does this look like a plane in an oil slick?" She then went on to post evidence in a diagram of the photos where she believed the plane was. A fan would later zoom up on the pictures and say, "Sometimes our eyes see what we want them to see." The picture would then show a boat, and the fan would know, although it was an interesting note, it looks more like the other boats in the area, but keep up the good work. That one was definitely embarrassing for the star, to the point that she hasn't been so vocal on her conspiracies since. At number 4, we have Rob Kardashian. So you think because Rob's family knows how to run social media that he would have learned the power it could have. Now, in Rob's defense, we have all lied about applying to schools just to keep our parents happy. But let this be a warning, maybe don't lie about it on Twitter, because you might get busted by the school you said you applied to. Back in 2012, when Rob would tweet that he was going to law school very soon, he was excited to attend, and then he went on to tag the University of Southern California. While some were quick to congratulate the reality TV star, USC came out to say that it was news to them and that he wasn't going to their school, as he never even applied. While everyone was having a good poke at the star for that one, I think it's a good time to remind Rob to be careful out there, because you never know who's gonna call you out on your next lie. At number 3, we have Kim Kardashian. Back in 2015, Kim got called out by Armani on Twitter for not knowing how to spell Giorgio's name. The incident started over Kim being upset about the brand's discontinuing her favorite foundation, and how she was on her last bottle and wanted the company to continue making it so it wouldn't be a huge inconvenience for her. Now, in the tweet she did write, "Why is Giorgio Armani discontinuing my favorite foundation?" and spelled Giorgio's name as Georgio. Armani would then tweet to the star saying to let them know what foundation she needed and they would send it out to her. They also threw a little shade at the star by telling her how to spell Mr. Armani's name as Giorgio. While there are other world issues other than a discontinued bottle of foundation, Kim, she was definitely embarrassed online for that one. At number 2, we have Gal Gadot. Actress Gal Gadot received a lot of backlash after her tribute to Stephen Hawking was seen as insensitive towards the disabled community. The star would tweet that she wished he was free of any physical constraints and that his brilliance and wisdom would be cherished forever. Fans were quickly to come for the star, as they had an issue with the fact that she said Steven's passing finally freed him from his physical constraints. Twitter user Adam B. Zimmerman would come out to say that Steven's disabilities didn't stop him from changing the world, and that people with disabilities don't wish to be free from their challenges. They wish to be valued for what they can do and not pitied for what they can't do. And many other users would beg the star to delete her insensitive tweet. And at number 1 today, we have Doja Cat. Doja Cat was almost cancelled after fans accused the star of participating in anti-Semitic chat rooms using some inappropriate language. Just days after the star landed her first Billboard #1 hit, she was accused of allegedly participating in the chatting platform called Tiny Chat. In viral footage, the singer could be heard making suggestive comments and also using some pretty insensitive words to call out the black community on the site.
I'm gonna start with, I'm very sorry to anybody who's taken offense, to anybody who I've hurt.
It's a music video by FKA Twigs that I've do it.
Let's take a look all night.
The star would then come forward to say that she's been using the site since she was a kid and she shouldn't have been using some of the rooms, and that she was sorry if she offended anyone. Doja Cat's actions would cause her to be unfollowed by majority of her fan base, but that wouldn't be the only time the star would be humbled, as back in July, Doja would message Stranger Things actor Noah Schnapp about his Stranger Things co-star.
Even though Alec Baldwin's criminal case for what happened on the set of Rust was dismissed, there's no arguing that he's guilty of being one of the rudest and stuck-up celebrities there are. Now, Alec Baldwin has been accused of rude behavior many times before. Now, it's even been caught on camera. Now, Alex has had many fights with the paparazzi, but let's talk about one from 2013. Alec pinned the photographer up against a car after he attempted to photograph Alex's wife, Hilaria. Now, Alec reportedly grabbed the photographer Paul Ado and shoved him on the street in New York. Now, there was no denying this because, well, pretty much the whole entire incident was caught by photographers. Now, both Alec and the paparazzi Paul called 911, but neither issued a formal complaint. Now, Mariah Carey is known to be a diva, and her former assistant, Yesler Oliver, revealed the full extent of Mariah's controlling behavior when she filed a lawsuit against the singer in 2014, and some of the details here will astonish you. She testified that Mariah made her work 16-hour days, 7 days a week. Not only that, but she wasn't paid any overtime for her efforts and even had to forego meal breaks. Now, she put up with this for 7 years, but eventually quit in March 2007 and decided to get some compensation for her abysmal treatment. Her lawyer explained, "My client put her family's life on hold while tending to Mariah Carey's family, and Mariah repaid her by underpaying her." Now, unfortunately, it's unclear whether or not she actually received any money from the lawsuit, but the treatment was just horrible. Now, Jennifer Lopez thinks that she's all that and a bag of chips, as she's known to be rude to fans and she has outrageous demands. Now, she was known to be disrespectful when it came to the Super Bowl halftime show and how upset she was having to share the spotlight with Shakira. Not to mention her performance demands that she's had in the past. In 2010, she performed at the World Music Awards that year, but to do this, she had a long list of demands that had to be met. She requested that the entire hotel floor and private beach be reserved for herself. She wanted an on-call masseuse as well as a 12-person hair and makeup team, and additionally she requested a standby helicopter and a custom speedboat with a champagne fridge. Now, Naomi Campbell is one of the most recognizable and in-demand models of the past 4 decades, so it's no shock that fame has gotten to her head. Now, Naomi is notorious for being one of the most difficult supermodels to work with. Now, she first pleaded guilty to assault of her personal assistant in the year 2000, and the weapon in question having been a telephone. In 2003, a former assistant sued her for throwing a phone at him during a tantrum, and in 2004, her maid claimed to have been slapped around the face. In 2005, her personal assistant alleged Naomi had smacked her around the head with a BlackBerry, while another associate accused her of coming over like Mike Tyson after they wore the same dress to an event. Now, in 2006, she was arrested on suspicion of assaulting her drugs counselor, while a former housekeeper sought damages and claimed she was a violent super bigot. Lea Michele is often considered to be one of the meanest celebrities in Hollywood. There have been countless former Glee co-stars who have spoken out about her, and one of the most notable claims came from actress Amber Riley in 2020, who worked with Lea on the former comedy series. I'm not going to say that Lea Michele is racist, that's not what I'm saying, Amber said in an interview on The Real Quick with Danielle Young's podcast that year. But at the same time, in my inbox, there are a lot of black actors and actresses telling me their stories and letting me know they have dealt with the same things on set, being terrorized by the white girl that are the leads of the show. Now 2 years later, Kevin McHale admitted during a November 2022 interview with Us Weekly that he questioned Lea's work ethic a few times while on the Glee set. We all come from different backgrounds and different experiences, and there were definitely moments of like, is that normal? Kevin said about Lea's behavior, but we didn't necessarily know any better and we were all learning together, he said. Avril Levine told ITV that she loved meeting Boy George. He was super nice to us, unlike Christina Aguilera, who was super mean to me when I said hi to her. Then Mary J. Blige said, I don't like her because she has a nasty attitude, she said during a radio interview. I was trying to greet her properly and she stuck her hand out for me to kiss it. I said, oh okay, you're headed down the wrong path already. She was just nasty. Valerie Bertinelli also called out Christina for how she acted when they bumped into each other at a Van Halen concert. Yeah, whatever. She gave me the cold shoulder and I thought, B, I'm a fan, you can't be nice to me, you know? Yeah, that's actually crazy that Christina is so stuck up. She has to be one of the most ultimate divas in Hollywood because that behavior is insane. Now, there's also so many horror stories when it comes to Madonna, from the way she treats her staff, dancers, and even her fans. An anonymous source revealed that when one of Madonna's dancers broke her arm during practice, instead of being concerned for the dancer's well-being, Madonna had a meltdown. Now, another anonymous source said that Madonna does not pay very well, but she knows that the people that she hires will work countless hours at a less than premium wage because she is Madonna. Then in 2009, 5 staff members quit within 7 days. Yep, 5 different employees. 1 chauffeur, 2 nannies, and 2 personal assistants walked out on the star. Then there was a time in 2015 when she was in Manchester for her Rebel Heart tour and she was running late. Madonna was defending her lateness though when she did eventually make it to the stage, launching an angry rant after being booed. Now other celebrities have also confirmed that she is just straight up rude, and that's not too hard to believe. Doctors ordered Angelica Castillo, one of Sharon's former employees, to undertake a brief period of rest, but Sharon denied her request and told her that she would have to come into work that day. Then when Angelica mentioned that she was still in pain 4 months later, the actress allegedly called her crazy and stupid. Erlinda alleged that Sharon made a number of disparaging comments about Filipinos, including calling them stupid people. Sharon slammed Erlinda for frequently attending church and on one occasion forbade her from reading the Bible in her own room. Now Sharon also ordered her not to speak to her 3 kids because she did not want them to talk like her. Christian Bale is another actor with a bad temper, as an audio recording leaked in 2009 of Christian having an outburst towards cinematographer Shane Hubert on the set of Terminator Salvation was released. In the audio, he's heard yelling at Shane, who supposedly distracted the actor during a scene, as it appeared that he walked in on the shot. Christian became enraged, hitting Shane with F-bombs as well as threatening to smash his lighting equipment. Now during a part of the clip he says, "You are trashing my scene, you do it one more effing time, and I ain't walking on this set if you're still hired." Then his former assistant came out with a book and said that Christian is often awful when fans approach him and just how horrible he was treated. Christian actually caused him to develop PTSD, so you know working for him was horrible. And now we have Kanye West. Are we really that shocked that Kanye is on this list? No, not really. Now Kanye became violent with a fan looking for an autograph on January 13th, 2022. Kanye was leaving the Soho Warehouse Club early and was reportedly approached by a fan. A video captured outside the club showed an aggravated Kanye shouting while an unidentified man lies on the ground. Sources say that Kanye struck the man after he approached him to ask for an autograph. Now the fan, or the probably former fan now I should say, actually sued Kanye. The man accused the rapper of shouting, "I'm gonna make an effing example of you," according to court documents. Now the man is seeking alleged past and future medical bills, past and future lost earnings, mental pain, along with disfigurement caused by the attack. Hey, if you don't want to give an autograph, that's fine, but you should never resort to violence. Now this is just one instance of Kanye being out of control, but as we know, there are many, many more times.